it's a citrus pale ale, 4.5%, which is, I guess, what we're expecting from the percentage. I thought it might be a little bit less, but that's fine. Inspired by the tales of old smuggling ships along the Suffolk coast, this hauntingly good pale ale is full of citrus and biscuit aromas with a spookingly hoppy bite. Interesting. I'm kind of expecting this to be kind of mild in comparison to sort of like the IPA that I had last time. Citrus, wasn't really expecting that. With like the branding, I wouldn't have thought citrus was a word that would come to mind looking at this. But you know, maybe it'll move, it'll do bits. I don't know. Bold citrus flavours from citra hops, or from citra hops. It's obviously a kind of particular strain of hops. All right, trying to find where I put my bottle opener. That's over there. And we'll get right into opening it up and trying it. Let's just jump straight in. All right. It is open, and almost immediately I'm hit by a hoppy smell, and there's a hint of citrus there, but it's a very kind of like potent hoppy smell. So now to the best bit. It's actually quite carbonated, more than I was expecting. It's much more carbonated than I was expecting. It's got a good kind of like head on there. It's kind of dialed down a little bit, but honestly, I find that a lot of these times the carbonation's pretty low. So yeah, I mean, colour-wise, it looks like it's sort of like a rich, sort of almost golden, verging towards amber. Darker than I was expecting from a pale ale, but I guess that's it. It doesn't have to be like super pale, but I was expecting it to be a bit more pale. But that's when it is on it. I guess pale ale still kind of verge into the amber, and it could also just be the lighting in this room, but it is definitely kind of a sort of like an amber, darker amber colour. Yep, definitely getting like the hops. And a very strong sort of like citrus smell right off the bat. It smells like it's going to taste like quite an intense hop and citrus taste, but it smells very nice. I actually really like the smell of this one. It's not sweet by any means. Obviously it's as you might expect, it's not like, it's got no like caramel sort of scents or flavours there, but let's give it a taste. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's hoppy bitterness. Yeah. I kind of expected it a little bit because of what it said on the bottle and the smell. There was just something about it. I was like, that's going to be quite hoppy, but it's quite nice as far as the first taste goes. I can imagine this is probably a fairly good like beginning-ish step if you're getting into ales, I guess. And maybe I'll have to drink a little bit more to really figure that out. But initial first impression. So the bitterness follows through, and the best way I can describe the sort of bitterness this is kind of like salt water, in the sense that, you know, if you have something that's quite salty, it has that. It's almost like the flavour of that, but it's kind of hard to describe about what bitterness is actually like. But the same way that you might gargle salt water and it tastes, there's that bitter taste. That's kind of similar to this, but the bitterness, I can imagine, blended with other things in this is what gives the other tastes, which is kind of a stronger hop, and also this sort of like, I guess, the citrus. it's taken a big back seat in the actual taste, whereas in the smell, it's actually passed now. So right at the beginning during the carbonation, it was really, really kind of like citrusy, but that's almost gone now. There's a hint of it there. If you take a really big inhale, but it's actually kind of dulled away and the carbonation has dropped to nothing now. Definitely not a let's drink about 1 million of these in a night. This is, I would say, like a middle ground between like a sip drink and a chug drink. You know, you could comfortably take a few big mouthfuls of this, but it's not like a lager where you could really kind of like drink it fairly quickly. And I put that down really to the bitterness, because I can imagine drinking too much of this all at once, it would be very overwhelming. I can't lie, I'm a little bit disappointed. I was hoping the citrus would carry through a little bit more, but it feels like it was mostly in the aroma, and then after the first few sips, which it kind of was there a little bit for the most part now. It's a big backseat to kind of to the hop, and I guess I'm guessing the citrus, because of how it was described on the bottle, I think the citrus must come in conjunction with the hops in this case, in that particular strain maybe, because it doesn't taste like any particular citrus fruit. It just has this sort of like citrusy acidic nature to it, like the smell you might like expect with that. But it seems to blend with the hops and give the hops a bit of an edge. It does taste nice. I want to say, of the ales that I've had, it's very middle ground. Like I've obviously had worse than this, or ones that I didn't like as much. But yeah, I wouldn't say this is on my top. I actually preferred, I guess I preferred the Brewdog, the Hazy Jane. Yeah, it definitely is interesting in that it has changed its flavour through the drinking experience. Like it feels like it's shifted, and that might just be because my palate got used to the taste of it. It's definitely like it's got a bitter edge, but it's not like really that bad. I don't really drink a lot of bitter drinks in general, obviously. Most of my experiences with lagers, which often aren't, like they don't have that sort of like super hoppy bitterness in the same way that ales do, and so I'm not really used to them, which is why when I'm passing judgment I try not to let that cloud my judgment, because I feel like that's not really a fair like review. Does that make sense? But at the same time, I'm talking about my preference in like the tier list, which was mentioned months and months and months ago, but still hasn't come to fruition yet. Yeah. I would buy one of these maybe if I was going to the pub. I would buy one of these, but I would drink it over the course. But I can't say that if I had the option, if I would drink this over a lager, and I kind of want that to change in my palate. I talked about this a little bit in the last video I did of these, in the last drink review, but I want to expand my palate. And right now, for the most part, I'd has changed me a little bit now is the New England, or the hazy IPA, which I actually do enjoy, because it's less of an ale, and means closer towards a cider in the sense of it having a much more kind of floral and fruity taste, which I am for, honestly. Alright, let's get the last part of this beer in. There we go. Ghost ship. So, this is Adnams. Adnams. I thought it was Adams, like Sam Adams, which I've never had. Because I'm guessing that's an American beer. I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen it in the UK or that brand. I'm getting the same thing again. The carbonation when it's poured. With the carbonation comes a real strong sense of that aroma. And it really does bring a citrus hoppy smell that mixes together. But the taste is not... I was wrong when I was saying at the beginning that the taste is not like the smell. Well, it is a little bit. So, the best way to describe it is that when it's, still in that carbonated state, that citrusy mixing with the hops stays. But when it starts to lose that carbonation, it loses the citrus, and it becomes much bitter, much more bitter even. Okay, I can already taste it beginning to fade. Yeah, I would never drink more than one of these, I don't think, at a time. Like, I wouldn't pick up another one and drink it right afterwards. And again, some of these are designed to be drunk in a longer time period. And I'm doing these reviews, well, at the moment it's about 15 minutes. So it's kind of hard, because I'm kind of judging it, trying to drink it quickly, rather than over a long period of time, and that's its own sort of like style, I guess. Is a drink that's meant to be savoured and drunk slowly, as opposed to one that's like, just drink it, It's kind of like drinking sort of any kind of spirit straight, I guess, like a whiskey on the rocks, or a scotch on the rocks. If you were to just like chug the whole thing at once, like, are you really drinking it? Is that what the point of that drink is? You kind of meant to sip it slowly. I really want to do, whilst I have the ingredients for it, I want to do a pina colada drink review video for New Year's. We bought some ingredients. Is the word still ingredients? I guess so. The required components for a pina colada. Well, no, not a pina colada. Sex on the beach. There we go. I mean, when I say it's the ingredients, like really just the 4 core ingredients. But I really did enjoy making them because I got a mixology set for Christmas, and for New Year's I made Sex on the Beaches, and that was a lot of fun. So I would like to maybe do that in the future. That'd be fun to do. Maybe Katie and I can do a drink review, and I'll make us like cocktails, and we'll do it here. But I don't know how the ice shaking, if that would be very good. But I guess I could dial down the gain, right, and reduce the volume, or I'll just cut it out. be a fun little ASMR video. Yeah. Wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't that be cool? Cool. Yes. We're on our last little trek here. I'm definitely gonna get a dry feeling in my mouth. I guess now would be a good point to kind of talk about the mouthfeel of the drink. It's definitely not what I would call full-bodied, or like what full-bodied is meant to mean. I really don't know if I'm describing that in the right way, but we're going to use the terminology anyway. It's somewhere like in between, because it's not super heavy like Guinness. It's not that sort of like really robust you might expect from other ales, but it's also not light. It's more of an in-between. However, after the sip, the sensation in the mouth is dry. It's sort of like almost a dehydrated feeling. It's not quenching like the initial like sip, and but the initial sip is feels like it's quenching, but because of the bitterness, it leaves a dry taste in the mouth, and that makes the whole mouth feel a little bit like gluey or like tarry, if that makes sense. Like it's a bit sticky, like everything is like gloopy, and that's maybe just my mouth, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. But I do find that with certain drinks, and typically is when it's bitter, it makes it feel a bit clunky. But that is the drink. So I get that last little bit. There we have it. So, Ghost Ship Citrus Pale Ale. This is the shortest drink review we've done in a while. I've been really to the point here. Yeah, I was about to say Sam Adams. Adnams Ghost Ship Citrus Pale Ale. I would put this probably mid to high B. It's not amazing. I don't think I would get it over a lot of other things, like mostly lagers. And I don't know, I don't really like the taste in the mouth. I felt the mouthfeel even. But I think the biggest issue I had was that the taste sort of like lost its edge when the carbonation dropped. So to reiterate, the citrus was mostly in the aroma. The first few sips with the carbonation there, with the head mixing in, helped blend a sort of like bitter hoppy taste with a slightly counteracting citrus. But once you got through that, the rest of it, like the citrus, which was obviously like in the drink itself still, it felt like it was suddenly overpowered by the bitterness, and so it became much more of a bitter drink, which to some people that might be a nice thing, like, oh, it's a drink that transforms as you drink it, and that can be cool, I guess. I don't know if that's the intention. Maybe it is. Maybe it's like a ghost ship. I don't know. That made no sense. But yeah, I can't say that I personally enjoyed it, I guess. I don't know. It was a fairly decent drink. I could drink it. If someone gave it to me, I would happily drink it. I would buy it at a bar, but I wouldn't drink a lot of them. But I wouldn't really base my personal, like, tier list list on whether I would get loads of them in a night out is whether I enjoyed them. And so, yeah, I think sort of like towards the top of B would be my place for that. But that's the ghost ship. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, be sure to check out some of the other videos popping up on the screen. Drop a like, a subscribe if you enjoyed and are watching, and I'll see you in the